What's up, guys? Vince from theprodrummer.com here. I was just packing for a gig, packing my stick bag, and I figured it would be a good time to do a video on what's in my stick bag. So this is what I typically carry to pretty much every single gig or when I'm going to teach or something. This is one of the things I have with me. It's just my V-Lock Groove Gear stick bag here. And then I have this little guy filled with some cables and stuff, which I usually will throw in my pedal bag, but if I'm not bringing a pedal, then it'll go in my stick bag, so I figured I would share that with you guys too. So here is what is typically in my stick bag. First thing, let's go over this guy. So we've got USB-C wall charger for iPads, phones, computers. We've got not one, but two Apple, of course, USB-C cables for charging my iPad, other people's iPads, phones. You never know when somebody else is going to forget their charger, so that's why I always have an extra one. Speaking of chargers, if I don't have a wall that I could plug this guy into, I've got my mobile power bank, also two USB-Cs. It's great for charging my phone, my iPad if it's low, but also cameras. I usually record every gig I have, so if I know it's going to be a long gig or the battery has the potential to die during the gig, I'll plug this in with the USB-C or whatever the connection is to either one of my Zoom cameras, a GoPro, whatever I'm recording with. What else do I have in here? Okay, I've got a lot of chargers, but they're important. USB-C to MagSafe charger for my phone. Got a couple audio cables here. Stereo 3mm cable, another stereo 3mm cable, just a little bit longer, because you never know when you're going to need more than one. Again, you might notice a theme. I over prepare. It's always good to have one extra cable than one too few. Same thing with sticks and a bunch of crap that I have in there. Got an audio splitter, 3mm to male to 3mm female. And then I've got this guy, it's a USB-C dongle. I can power my iPad or phone, as well as it has a 3mm headphone jack in it. And then I've got, of course, 3mm to 1/4" adapter. You'll notice I probably have a couple in my stick bag as well, because these have a tendency of disappearing. But there's been many gigs where somebody else has said, hey, I need an adapter for my phone or something, and nobody has one. Not even when it's the band I'm in. The band I'm in usually is prepared, but there's always times where at rehearsal or another band in the set needs something. It's good to just have it. The more friends you make, the more you'll get called back for gigs. So that's just a little pro tip for you. All right, let's move on to the stick bag. Okay, so for the stick bag, let's go back to front, see what we got here. Again, V-Lock stick bag. I love this stick bag. This has been great. I've used a lot of different ones. This seems to be to fit me the best for all the things that I need to carry. So yeah, shout out to Groove Gear. And then here, what do I got? I got a little luggage tag with my business card on it, so in case I leave it somewhere, which I thankfully have not done yet, it has my name clearly on it. Or if it's backstage at a show, somebody picks it up, they see exactly whose it is, they can yell out the name or whatever. All right, let's start back to front. So, in this pocket I have a few things. A bunch of pencils. Always have some pencils for writing down music, taking down some notes. Pencils, not pens, since you can erase them. They all have erasers on them. I've got a very thin pen, kind of like a felt tip micron pen, in case I need to make small adjustments to scores permanently. I've got a Milwaukee, what is this, Fine Point Inksol. It's basically a Sharpie. I just found that these guys write on pretty much anything, including gaffer tape, duct tape, snare drum heads, dirty heads, wood, floors, paper, cardboard, anything you need to write on. This marks it up pretty well. And then I've just got a little pen case here with one of my actual nice Montblanc writing pens, which I love. Shout out to Montblanc. And then, yeah, I'm a weirdo, but I always carry some extra hair gel. So before a gig, if I need to, if my hair's not looking too good, if I'm sweating and I need to redo it and make myself look beautiful, I've got a little thing of hair gel there. So that is those things. Yeah, that's there. Sometimes I'll also put more chargers here, things like that, cables. Then on this side, I have notebook. So if I need to write some quick notes for a gig, I'll put it in there. Right now, I just have some of my lessons plans, things that I'm practicing with. When I take lessons, I write down notes in here. So I'll always have a fresh notebook with plenty of room to write in it, so I can jot down stuff fairly quickly on there. And then, of course, my iPad. All my charts are on here, and Fourscore. I'll make another video at some point kind of going over how I use my iPad for gigs. But I've got my iPad Pro, yeah, the iPad Pro with the nano texture display, which has been a lifesaver in gigs outside where there's a lot of glare, or under stage lights where there's a lot of glare. The nano texture has really helped. I don't know if you can tell that there's almost no reflection to it. Can you see that? Yeah, you can kind of see it. It just, there's a little bit, but it's really dramatically better. I could put it next to a phone so you can kind of see the difference in glare. I guess you're not really seeing it. Maybe, hopefully. But it does significantly help glare, and for outdoor gigs especially. And then I have normally a folder of set lists. What was this for? Oh, this was when I was playing with Jasmine Cara. So just, I always have some extra set lists in there. I actually need to take those out and clean it off. All right, let's get into the actual bag. Okay, into the actual bag. Got a bunch of sticks and stuff here. We'll go little by little. Let's start. Yeah, we'll start with all the sticks, mallets, things like that. All right, so I normally have a couple pair of sticks open that I am using. So I've got 2 pairs here. No, 1 new pair. Did not use those yet. And then kind of a chewed up pair. Got a pair of mallets. These are great for cymbal swells. If I need to play on the toms and I don't want a lot of attack, I just want tone. They're great for that. Also tuning drums, those are really nice too. So I've got ProMark. Oh, yeah, I guess I'll go over the sticks. Vic Firth, American Classic Hickory 5A double glaze. I freaking love the double glaze. I used to hate glazed sticks or lacquered sticks when I was younger, but the older I get, the more my hands dry out. And when your hands are dry, it's really nice to hold on to something that doesn't absorb the natural oils in your hand. So they are a little bit slipperier. They do have the potential to kind of slip a little bit if you're really sweating a lot. Although I really have not found that to be a problem since switching to this, and my hands generally sweat a good amount, but I still love the double glaze. All right, what else do I got here? Oh, and these are ProMark Multipurpose MT3 mallets. Depending on what gig I'll play, I'll bring a different pair of mallets, but I've got a few. All right, again, Vic Firth, I've got some chop out sticks, some 5B chop outs. I like to play on a pad with sticks that are a little heavier than what I normally use. I'll normally play with 5As or even a smaller stick, sometimes a little bit bigger, but when I'm practicing, warming up, I like sticks that are a little thicker. These are nice because you can play and warm up absolutely anywhere. On a road case, on your snare case, on a table, on the floor, on whatever you want. They're nice and quiet, and they've got a good amount of rebound. All right, more practice sticks. A lot of times I'll bring a practice pad with me, so I have a pair of pad sticks. These are Vader Dom Famularo pad sticks. They're really an exaggerated stick. I love them for warming up, for practicing technique. Really big bead or tip on the stick. They're fairly thick. I believe they are modeled after the old Bunkin 3A, 3B? Bunkin, the old Bunkin sticks. If you know, you know. More mallets. I've got some swizzle sticks here. The 5A dual tone. These are getting a little ratty, but they still work great. Again, it's just 5A with a mallet end on one side and a regular stick tip on the other. Got another pair of those that I'm just trying out. I wanted to try these. The tip on these are a little different. These are ProMark. These are their multi-percussion general. The mallet on the butt end is a little harder. It's a little denser. It's definitely not as soft as the Vic Firth. And the tip is more of a small barrel shaped. I don't know if you could see that. So they're a little more articulate. I've just been giving them a try. I've actually been trying out a lot of the ProMark stuff lately, which has been, I've liked it so far. I've liked it so far. Then we've got some hot rods. Again, more D'Addario products. ProMark lightning rods, ProMark hot rods. Got some brushes here. The Vic Firth Steve Gadd wire brush. I freaking love these things. They're great for sweeping. I like them for a little more intricate playing. They're really nice. They've got a nice full sound to them. If I want a little bit of a thinner sound, or sharper sound, not thinner, more of a thinner, like a sharper attack, I'll go with the split brush. These are also good if I need to project a little bit more, just by the very nature of having dual wires. They're a little bit louder. They project a little bit more, so with amplified music or electrified music, I find that these are really nice. They also get picked up really nicely on mics. Then what have I got here? Got the Vic Firth Remix. These are really soft. So if I need to do really quiet stuff, some percussion stuff, I use those guys. Some more hot rod type things. These are the Vic Firth Ruta. Have not used these too much. Sometimes I find that one or two of these dowels will fly out in the Vic Firth model for some reason, but they do have a really nice sound and they do have a great handle. You can really get a nice grip on them. I've got another pair of split brushes, brand new. Depending on the gig, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm playing a really quiet acoustic gig, I will tend to load this up with more brushes and mallets. If I'm playing straight ahead rock, I'll put more extra sticks in it. If I'm playing a jazz gig, again, more sticks, different brushes, maybe less of the rods than if I'm playing a percussion gig. And then some spare sticks. So for spare sticks, I've got a few pairs of, I actually usually have a lot more in here, but I've got more 5A double glaze, and then Keith Carlock. I really like these for quieter trio gigs, jazz gigs. The tip on these are awesome. They're really small. They break and chip pretty easily, so for heavier stuff, I don't always use them. I feel like they're a little thicker than a 7A, not quite as thick as a 5A. But these have absolutely phenomenal response on the cymbals. They sound great on ride cymbals. They sound great on hi-hats. You can still get a nice thick chunky sound out of them if you want, but for quieter stuff, more articulate playing, I tend to use the Keith Carlock model. All right, let's get into the rest of this. So I think that is it there. Of course, stick sleeves. All right, this side we have custom molded earplugs, and there's a couple things in here. So these are the Westones with the exchangeable filters, detachable filters. I've got different filters in there, so I have ones that take down 9 dB, I think 12 or 15 dB, and then like 20, 25 dB. So depending on the venue I'm at, depending on what I'm playing, if I want it a little quieter in my ears, I'll wear those. If I want it a little louder, then I'll put in like the 9s or something like that. And then I almost always have a clean pair of extra earplugs for whoever forgot to bring earplugs that day. So there's a lot of times I'll be in rehearsal and somebody's got a headache, or the bass player doesn't have earplugs, something like that. It's like, I got you, man. I got some earplugs for you. Again, make friends. They'll call you back on gigs. And then what else do I have in here? A Lightning iPhone dongle. Even though I don't have a Lightning iPhone, I've got one of the newer ones. Again, a lot of people still have these. So if you're in a rehearsal or in a gig where somebody needs a dongle, they don't have it, you got it. And then a regular USB-C dongle to my phone or an iPad. I just keep those in there. All right. Pack of business cards in case you're meeting new people, you're out and about, give them your business card. Always be exchanging your information. I have a lot of freaking dongles in here, but like I said, it's better to be over prepared because these always have a tendency of walking off. Got an older iPad dongle, which sometimes doesn't work, so I'm not even gonna put it back in there. But then the newer iPad dongle, which I got to replace that, again, USB-C, so you could charge the iPad and you have the 3mm jack out. So that's always helpful. I've got more adapters. Like I said, these walk off. It's always good to have a few extra ones, whether it's for your own. If you're once in a while, you'll run in-ears through that. Somebody else will need it for something. It's good to have it. Of course, drum key. I'll have a drum key in my pocket, but I also have a drum key in my bag. What kind is this? Snare weight. This is nice and heavy, but I like it because it'll stick on the, it's got this plastic part that sticks on the tension rod, and it'll stay on there. So even if I'm using a backline kit, if I put it somewhere, I know it'll stay on there and somewhere easily accessible, rather than putting it on this way, it falls out, then you lose it forever. And then again, another Lightning dongle. So yeah, again, extra, extra, extra. Next, my Westone in-ears. So I've got those here, and more dongles. Lightning, USB-C dongle. I'm going crazy with the dongles. Again, I like having extra stuff. You don't know when you're gonna need them, and they tend to walk away. And I figure with the Lightning, since I don't use it, I might as well keep them here, because otherwise they're just gonna collect dust in a bag and eventually get thrown out in the house. So have those. Again, in-ears, we will put those back later. Okay, what else? This thing, Lifesaver. This Leatherman, although this is a Gerber one, but it's fantastic. I use this pretty much every gig, whether I need a knife to cut something, whether I need the pliers to loosen something on the kit that's been dramatically over tightened by somebody who's playing before me. It's got a screwdriver, it's got Allen wrenches, it's got files, it's got all that stuff, bottle openers, it's got scissors. Scissors I've used 100 times at gigs. You always need a scissors for something. But this thing has been great. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. You don't need an expensive one. Get one that's just durable and that works and has what you need. It's got wire cutters, wire strippers. Thing is freaking great. What else? Hi-hat clutch. DW hi-hat clutch. Speaks for itself. Great clutch. I will often play gigs where the hi-hat clutch is either a piece of crap and it doesn't work, or they just don't have one. That's really common, especially in New York. A lot of the kits you bring breakables. This is considered a breakable usually. Even if they have one, bring one just in case. And then what else do I have? I have some finger tape. So once in a while, if it's really hot or sweaty and I'm playing traditional grip, once in a while I'll get like blisters are here. In case you get a blister here, you get a blister in your foot, I'll just tape it up and then get a Band-Aid later. But this stuff really sticks on. This is like silk medical tape. If you get a cut, if you get something happens, if you need to stick up a set list really quick, you could use it for that. Anytime you need tape, it's right there. And then another clutch. This is a Pearl quick release clutch with SimPad felts on it. I guess they're not felts, but the SimPad foam. I usually will keep 2 clutches just in case I lose one. I don't want to show up to a gig and not have a clutch, or accidentally leave a clutch and then not have one for the next gig I go to. So I always have 2. And also these 2 use slightly different mechanisms for closing around the hi-hat rod. So even if you have a really big hi-hat rod or a really thin one of these will work. I believe Yamaha, sometimes they have the really skinny hi-hat clutches. I used to have a Yamaha clutch, and there's been times where I've went to go put that on the hi-hat rod and it just doesn't fit. So it's good to have ones that function a little bit differently, and that's why I specifically don't have 2 of the same clutches. I like the DW clutch a little more, but I don't want 2 DW clutches because they function in the exact same way. So it's good to have options. Anything else in here? Yep. Okay, moon gels, clear moon gels. Self-explanatory. You're on a kit, it needs a little dampening. It's not your kit, throw the moon gels on it, really easy fix. And then one of the most important things, my Apple AirTag. That just obviously lets me know that where my bag is at all times. If I am an idiot, walk away, it'll say, hey, you forgot your stick bag, which I always appreciate. So yeah, guys, that's what is in my stick bag. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Vince the Pro Drummer, or check out theprodrummer.com. As I always say, I offer personalized, individually tailored lessons. I'd love to have you a student, so please reach out, follow me on social media, like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that's what is this? Oh yeah, one thing I forgot in my stick bag. Huh, funny.